Hey friends, Lissa here for another video. Today I wanted to do this video because I get it requested a lot, is to do my little analogy on fat and sugar in the bloodstream and why it can cause insulin resistance. So I'm finally doing that video for you today. Alright, so our bodies run on sugar. We need to be consuming sugar, but not processed sugar, not refined things, none of that kind of stuff. We need fruit and vegetable sugar, and if you want to do cooked vegan, whole grains. So this is going to be your fuel source. The body runs on carbohydrates. We can convert fat and protein into a usable energy form, but it's not ideal. We should just be eating it from our foods. Now, when I tell people that I eat high fruit, a lot of them say, well, isn't that too much sugar? It's not, because A, the fruit comes with fiber, which slowly releases the sugar into the bloodstream, but it also is because I eat low fat. Now, this is the analogy that I share with so many people, and every time I share it, they're like, hey, you gotta make a video on that because it's so good, so I'm going to finally share it. Here's your cell. Your cell runs on sugar, and when it wants fuel, it sends a signal to your brain and says, hey, we need fuel, so you start to feel hungry or craving or something like that. So your cell wants that. Now, if you are eating low-fat diet, like I do, you don't have a lot of fat in your bloodstream. So if you eat that 5-banana smoothie, or you eat a whole pineapple and 3 mangoes, or a whole monomeal of like 8 or 9 nectarines, all of that sugar is slowly released into your bloodstream because of the fiber in the fruit, so you get a slower release into the bloodstream. And once all that sugar is in the bloodstream, the body says, oh, okay, well, we need to get the sugar into the cell because that's where it's burned as fuel, and that's where you get your energy from. So it sends insulin, and insulin comes into the play, and it has a key. And the key unlocks the cell, opens the cell, so all the sugar goes into the cell, you burn it as energy, and all is good with the world. However, if you had a heavy laden fat pizza for dinner, or you had cookies and, bulletproof coffee, or something that has a lot of fat in it, and you always eat a lot of fats, which again, the typical person is probably eating around 40 to 60% fats. 40 to 60% of their total calories are coming from fats. So you've got a lot of fat in your bloodstream, and animal products are worse than plant fats for sure in this. It's mainly saturated fats, animal fats, that kind of thing. Plant fats will still do this if you're eating in excess, and this is why I keep my fats to 10% of my total calories. But you've got all this fat in your bloodstream, and the fat gums up the locks on a lot of your cells. So your cell says, hey, need some fuel, so it sends a signal to your brain and you crave something. Now, if you're eating a lot of fat, you're probably going to crave things with a lot of fat, a lot of processed sugar, that kind of stuff. So you're going to go towards sweet things. Or you had pizza the night before and you're like, I'm going to start healthy today. I'm going to have my 5-banana smoothie first thing in the morning, but you have a lot of fat in your bloodstream, which can take around 72 hours to dissipate if you do low fat. So the day after doing a cheat meal is not the best time to be eating a lot of fruit or a lot of sugar. Anyways, you eat all of the sugar, and if it's processed sugar, it's going to be released really fast into your bloodstream, but even fruit sugar is released slowly. Your body says, oh, hey, there's all this sugar in the bloodstream, I gotta get it in the cell, so it sends insulin. Insulin comes with its lock, and it tries to unlock the cell, but it can't because fat is blocking it. So you're basically not getting the sugar into the cell. So the body's like, well, there's still all this sugar in the bloodstream, so it sends more insulin. And that insulin doesn't really work very well. And it sends more. I mean, it opens a couple cells, but not a lot. And you do get a little energy or short burst, but it's not sustained. And your body just keeps sending insulin and insulin and insulin to deal with the sugar that's in your bloodstream. And if you're not burning the sugar, what happens to the sugar? Maybe it gets stored as fat, and maybe it becomes food for yeast and parasites. That's why a high-fat diet can never fully get rid of candida, because once you start consuming sugar and fruit again, your symptoms just come back because of all the fat in the bloodstream. The key is to do low fat and lower glycemic fruits if you want, but really, if you can get that sugar into your cell and burn it before the yeast can eat it, your yeast will start to die off, and that's what happened to me, and it happens to countless people doing a low-fat, raw vegan diet. Their candida disappears because they're using the sugar and not the yeast. So you don't want it to store as fat, and you don't want it to be food for yeast, so you gotta lower your fat intake so there's not very much fat in your bloodstream, and every time you have a lot of fruit sugar, that your insulin just comes and opens the cell, you burn it, and all is good. But if you have the fat in there and your insulin's not working, your cell is gonna say, hey, I'm still starving for energy. And now it's even worse because it's a couple hours later. It sends a signal to your brain that says, give me anything that's sugar. And that is where the cravings come in. The uncontrollable urges to have chocolate bars, or your afternoon sugar crash where all you want to do is sleep because you're so tired because your cell's not getting any energy. So really, in general, this is just what I've learned over the years of being raw, that what happens to your body is that fat is the cause of why insulin can't get the sugar into the cell. Now, Dr. Michael Greger has a really good video on this. If you want to watch that, I have a link in the description below. You can go head over there. This is my analogy of that video, so you can watch that and get his perspective on it, which is very similar. But that is why I eat low fat. And when I do eat my fat, I keep it with my greens, because greens are slowly released into the bloodstream, a lot slower than fruit. But fruit alone, you don't need to have any fat with your fruit. So don't need to do the coconut milk with your smoothie. You don't need almond milk with it. You don't need anything like that. Just eat your fruit alone. Keep your fats to your salads. We need fats to absorb things like vitamin A and vitamin K from our greens to keep us healthy. They're fat-soluble vitamins. We do need fats, and I am not anti-fat, everybody. I believe that we should be consuming fats in our diets, but we should be keeping it at a lower amount, and that could be anywhere from 5% if you're dealing with candida or issues like that, to about 20% if you're breastfeeding, if you're giving raw foods to a child, they may need more fats. If you feel like you need more fats, you could probably go up to about 20%. You'll know you've had too many fats when you get tired, lethargic, cravings, sugar crashes, candida symptoms, that kind of thing. That is a signal to your body that you are getting that you've had too many fats. So just watch your fat percentage, keep it on the low end, and you should be good. But I hope you guys like this video. Again, I get tons of requests to do this video, so I'm finally putting it out there. But if you liked it, please click like and subscribe to my channel to get notifications for more. You can find me on Facebook, Lissa's Raw Food Romance, on Instagram, Raw Food Romance, and over on Snapchat, Lissa Raw Vegan. So until the next video, guys, fruit on.